And we live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome, 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 everyone. Welcome, everyone, to the Pseudo Killers, live, hosted by the Real Black Atheists on Fire. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see if I got everything set up right. I think I do. Got the show. Boom. Okie dokie. Looking good. No. Okay. Boom. Let's do. All right, come on, focus in, you son of a. There we go. Peace, 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 peace. Now, I want to welcome everybody again to the Pseudo Killers live, hosted by the Real Black Atheists on Fire. We're gonna be over here all week because we're having YouTube issues on our channel. So next week we'll be back on the Pseudo Killers channel. But for right now, we're over here and we're gonna still give you the great content. So I hope everybody is doing wonderful today. We want to jump right back into the James Webb telescope, space telescope. Part one of our show yesterday, we delve into it. But we have Concrete Corey and Vance and Yolanda and Unc and Brendan, is all gonna weigh in and give further insight on the JWS, and what that means to humanity. It's a great leap forward in our understanding of our universe and literally our place in it. So, again, hope everyone is having a wonderful day. I know I am. Apologize for being a little late. Let me unlock that. Yeah, I apologize for being a little late, but all right, let me lock that. All right, without further ado, let me get the Zoom link going and get the folks in here. But we in here, come in here, wipe your feet off like we do as usual. So let's go. My bad. Always hit the wrong button. We're going to start with Kent today.
Talk on the track, but I was just thinking the other day, I'm like, damn, niggas be hating on a nigga, man, and we trying to figure out, like, why they be hating on low. But then I learned, in order to understand the motherfucker, you gotta look at things from their perspective, put yourself in their shoes. That's how I came. They say Soldier ain't from the hood. He ain't had the news on the stove, he looking too good. Living in the house, fireplace, he burning the wood, riding in that mirror every day, yeah, just like he should. Wish I would if I could, but I hate that nigga. Ain't that nigga, make it look easy, look how break that nigga. Quarterback like Breeze, but he ain't no fucking saint, nigga. I can do it too, but I'm mad cause I can't, nigga. Look at him, look how he never slipping. We should've killed him long ago, now look how he living. It's steady winning, yeah, I'm losing, but I chose struggle. Skinning and grinning, he a real nigga, man, but fuck low, taking Henny. Skinning and grinning, he a real nigga, man, but fuck low, taking Henny. He got a bad habit, a queen stay on type of way and shit. But you know, I'm like, let's all get this money. You know what I'm saying? But you know, they continue to goddamn, you know, but that ain't none of my business. But you know, this is just me. This is dedicated to them hater nation, man. You know what I'm saying? He a dirty nigga. Bitch and give him back like he ain't heard of niggas. Ain't scared of niggas. He was raised by the young and fearless. When's the last time you seen this nigga? Yeah, he think he clean when he pull up on the scene with his feelings missing. Sociopathic, but I wouldn't want my car next to his in traffic. And at me he's laughing. It's like he's pricing. I'm the passion. It's like he's packing and I'm the one that's lacking. Fatal attraction, affirmative action. Hey hell nah, nigga can't be. He just made another chess move I can't see. He probably feel like this Nintendo, he the game genie. On FB, he always talking shit, I'm about to delete. You see me, never see eye to eye. His circle small, but he always dividing the pie. I can't lie, but fuck him. Nigga, don't trust him. Yeah, he's solid and still, but them haters gon' bust him. Man, too many people love him. Yeah, man, you know. Damn, that's how y'all feel? Shit, I mean, what can I do? I mean, hey, I want us all to eat, you feel me? But you know, everybody can't win, it gotta be a loser. So, I mean, shit, you know, fuck it. This shit was jamming. I like, you know what I mean? Classic shit. Goddamn, about to pull up, do say in the cup. Cause I don't give a fuck. It's all love though. Yeah. Yeah. Knuckle. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we still going. Shit. That's what I'm talking about. Let's get it.
That's right. Welcome everybody back to the Pseudo Killers Live, hosted by the Real Black Atheists on Fire, and we definitely on fire. So we had two shows last night. We had the show where we talked about the James Webb. Then we had a part 2 show where Unc and Reggie squared off against my man Sosa. They really tried to jump Sosa on part 2 of the show. Y'all gotta watch that. It's hilarious. Rawborn came on. Jolanda did not help Sosa at all, but Sosa acquitted himself, accounted for himself very well. So it was nothing. You know what I mean? So let me see. Yeah, so yeah, some amazing pictures came back from the James Webb telescope, space telescope. And we gonna offer, you know, Corey is, him and Vance, they really be into that real heavy. So they was kind of mad that they didn't get a chance to weigh in. So we're gonna see if they can add any more clarity to the topic. So I'm waiting for them to come in now. But how's everybody doing? Let's see who up in here. We got Juju in the building. What it do? D Centavo, what it do? Demar, what up? Paragon, what it do? Late Show 42. Rakim, what it do? Rakim Allah. Tony Macaroni, what it do? TSXMX, what up? Truth Ministries, where you been at, bro? What it do? Cedric, what it do? What it do? What it do? Ali Dawood L, what it do? Assalamu alaikum. All right. Still waiting for them to pull up. Everybody bluffing. Yo, they always do this to me. I always get left hanging. Look, when they said they wanted to do a show, I came home. I put this thumbnail up around 3 o'clock. They said, yo, we got to go on early because I got to get some sleep, blase, blase. So I made the thumbnail and I got the damn, the reminder out there, you know, damn near 4 hours, 4 hours in advance. I got you, Cedric. Give me a second. Yeah, I got here. I got everything together, you know, 4 hours in advance, and I'm still waiting for them to come in. But I know everybody getting off work. They got to deal with their families before they get situated. So I'm left holding the bag. You know what I mean? So. Juju, where you at? All right, let me do this here. Right, Cedric. It's Corey's subject, and we don't know where he at. He out, you know, building driveways and decks and shit, playing in cement. It's a goddamn shame. It's a goddamn shame. So let me do this. Oh my God. Thank y'all for the like button. I appreciate that. We appreciate that. Let's mute that. Boom, boom, boom. There you go, Cedric. Boom. All right, y'all. So, dead air. I know. All right. So, James Webb. Oh, let me drop this link. The link is. I'm sorry. All right. Yeah. So, you know, James Webb, you know, my biggest issue with space is, you know, finding life in the universe, right? That's very fascinating to me, right? To see how diverse life is on this one planet. Just imagine how diverse life can be in the universe. You know, so that's always, you know. Yeah, Cedric. They tag team Sosa last night, and it was horrible. Sosa was fending him off with just a shoe hand. He was just shooing them off like they were kids. Shooing them off like they was goddamn kids. Okay. All right. Boom. Got y'all. Brendan, what up?
What's going on, Chef? What's happening, fellas?
Ain't nothing.
All right.
Peace, Brandon. How you doing?
Peace.
What it do, Chef?
Ced? What's happening, bro?
Cedric, what's up?
I'm good.
All right.
Yeah. I want to hear all the good stuff. I'm waiting till the till the experts get here. Not what? Let me rephrase.
Uh-oh.
Till our main enthusiast on the subject
Right?
get in the building.
A lot more.
When
That's
I
more
see those
like it.
pictures, they're beautiful pictures, though. Man, fascinating stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I think Corey was, we were on the call on the back chat earlier, right? And Corey was really going in depth, sort of explaining what we were seeing, right? So I'm not as savvy as, some of these guys are. So, I'm really interested in really getting their take in terms of some of those early pictures, man. I think it should
Same
be.
here. I'm deeply interested, especially in the philosophical discussions about space. The technology, I pretty much understand, but of course, the scientists need to analyze the data and then break it down for us. And of course, enthusiasts, they pretty much understand the astrophysicist lingo and can break it down in layman terms. But in terms of us finding life, it becomes a real philosophical question. What would we be looking for? Things like us, what we consider life. Will we be able to detect other forms of life? Do we know what other forms of life would look like? Because our local environment produced this form of life, carbon-based, brain in the head, visual, needing visual senses, developing sensitivity to light. Now, who knows if these are the main traits that you would find on another system? For example, why wouldn't life arise based off silicium or germanium? Because they pretty much have the same or even greater binding capacity as does carbon. So, what we'll be looking for?
Yeah, very, very interesting, because I think Chef hit on this in the last episode, right? In terms of some of the diversity of life we even see here on our planet, right? He talks about the microbes that actually metabolize high amounts of sulfur that live live amongst the high, exactly, right? Which was very,
don't need any oxygen.
Right, exactly. So of course, right, we're going to look for those real telltale signs in the atmosphere, right? High amounts of oxygen or high amounts of carbon dioxide. Either one can give credence to existence of life, right? But what about some of these other, elements that could potentially be metabolized by these organisms? That's very interesting, right? So for sure.
So it begs the question. But in terms of intelligent life forms, if we look at the formation of our local solar system 4.1 billion, 4.3 billion years ago, compared to the universe itself, which is 13.1 billion years. Let's say we got a civilization or a system developed about 8.2 years ago. Now, knowing and understanding what our limitations are in terms of intelligence and our ability to move through the galaxies. We know our limitation. Now, what level of advancement would a civilization like that be if they indeed had the capability to traverse to traverse space in that type of way? Would they even consider us intelligent beings? Would they look at us the way we look at animals on our planet and assess them based on their intellect? For example, I work with a lot of animals, and the thing that I'm constantly pushing is the level of intelligence. How smart are animals? And do we have a misconception of their level of intelligence? For example, we're starting to see that in what we can do with alligators, the amount of training that you can do with reptiles. We're starting to recognize that snakes have the ability to recognize you and choose interactions. So we're seeing more and more the intelligence of animals as we engage more with their intelligence. But so imagine a civilization to the point that they see us and they measure us based on their level of intelligence, and we equate to, well, a baby, or insignificant, or just another microbe in the universe. These are some of the type of philosophical discussions I have with myself regarding what's out there or the possibilities. It goes from, would we be able to identify them? A silicium-based life, a germanium-based life form? Would we consider them life? Because those elements are not carbon. They have a higher rate of binding capacity. They transfer information at a higher rate. Their conductivity is awesome. So I can imagine super intelligent beings existing based on a silicium-based body type. But what would that look like?
And here's another thing: if they did this super intelligent race that travels the cosmos and was advanced enough to discover and realize us, right? We would hope that they would be benevolent enough to leave us alone.
Yeah, but I'm saying, would they even consider us noteworthy? Like would they consider us anything other than anomaly?
Because one of the last things that I think that we would want to do is to encounter them. No. Stay there and we'll stay here, right?
Yeah.
Right? If they're anything like humans are, right? If they're potentially resource starved, right, or opportunists, then we don't want them interacting with us at all.
Yeah, if they have any of the evolutionary traits of humans, in our attack first, ask questions later mindset, they might annihilate us before we even get a conversation.
Peace, Corey. What's happening, brother?
Oh, peace, right, man. Peace, man. Just joining. Can y'all hear me pretty good?
Perfect.
Yeah, we can hear. Yep, we can hear you.
Okay.
What about my mic? I've got this new janky mic here. I don't know.
Yeah, you good. You good.
Okay.
Yeah, man. I was just got done with a little science project with my daughter. I got kind of carried away. I kind of took over a little bit. You know what I mean? So, you know how we do. She had a little project for school, and asked me for some help. Yeah, I kind of got carried away. My wife had to tell me, well, let her do her thing, you know. So I got to kind of back off a little bit and let her get into her project without so much influence from dad, you know. But yeah, man, it sounds like a good good topic. Y'all putting out some good information. Definitely last night was a great show. I watched last night. I went over the show last night, and that was a good show. I wanted to kind of get clarity on some of the topics, some of the images and things that we saw last night. I need somebody to pull up a couple of those images that's got a mouse, because it's gonna take. When you're looking at those images, it's hard to kind of focus on one thing, and that's the kind of trick. You kind of have to have a trained eye to kind of analyze these images. You know what I mean? So we could get deeper into the images, I guess. I don't know if did y'all officially start the show or what, because I see we only got 24 in there. I don't like the 24.
Nah, it's,
Oh, that's beautiful.
We ain't on our channel. We on the Real Black Atheist, so it takes a moment for the people to get in here. But we already having the conversation, so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Why are you so
Okay.
nice? You were waiting on you, Corey.
Well, that's a good I think that's a good suggestion. Let's tee up some images. If you
I'd like to
have
tee
some,
up that one image because that was it's two images that was kind of my favorite images and that kind of mattered the most to me. And then I want to talk about my one of my I guess teachers. I would say Neil deGrasse Tyson. Yeah, one of his favorite pictures too. We could talk about that one too.
okay, so we've got the one which is the captures of a dying star.
Yes, that's one of my favorites there. Yep.
Okay, so we'll grab that one.
And I think I'm gonna go ahead, and if you can pull up your camera and pull it up on the screen.
All right. So
I can see your mouse when you do it, right, Brendan?
I think so. Let me share my screen here. Put this in full. Share this.
Peace to Thirsty Uno, man. Shout out to you, brother. I always see you in there, man. Holmes, my brother Holmes. Peace. Shout outs to you, man.
All right.
I see we got Q Butter in the chat, man. What's up?
Peace
What
to
up?
Q.
What up,
Peace, Q Butter. Let me know if you can see that, bro.
Absolutely. So what we're looking at here, we're looking at two different instruments on the same observatory, right? On the James Webb, which is an observatory. Some people call it a telescope, but this is more of an observatory, right? The image on the left would be your near infrared image, right? That's a near infrared image. The image to your right is the medium infrared image, and this is what sets the James Webb apart from past observatories like Hubble and other ones like that, right? They've actually got a I can't remember the name of it. Anthony brought it up yesterday. One is it's an observatory in Hawaii who actually uses those same type of mirrors and some of the same type of technology that the James Webb uses. The difference is the James Webb is in the Lagrange 2 point, which allows the temperature of that observatory to reach temperatures lower than negative 300 degrees. And you got to imagine absolute zero, which is the average temperature of outer space, right? Is negative 200 degrees. So this thing is way out there. But I want to get back to the image though, right? So let's look at the image on the right. This is the image on the right is the image that to me in my opinion is the most significant, right? Because if you look, and Hubble has taken this same picture. Hubble's taken the same exact picture, right? But if you look at this is a star that's about the size of our star, about the size of the sun, right? Which is this is a dying star. This is the star emitting the last of its radiation, right? And you can see in this image that this is a binary system. And if you look closely, you can see the white dwarf that's the remnant of this star that's dying, and you can see the companion star back there, which will eventually go. It won't go supernova, but it will turn into this red giant stage. That's what this star. That's what this image is. It's a star in the stage of a red giant, where its core has used up all of its fuel, his nuclear fuel. And all you have left is the remnants of the star, which is that neutron star, right? That white dwarf, right? And so this is basically how our star is going to end up. This is the death. This is the final fate of our sun. So that's the significance of this. We actually get to see what it looks like when our star is gonna once it reaches the stage of the red giant stage, right? So yeah, this is a dying star. I wanted to bring some clarity because I think it was a little bit of confusion yesterday when I listened back to the show. But what's interesting to me in this picture, Brendan, if you could take your mouse to the image on this would be the image on your right okay. There, up there, you see where kind of the cloud kind of spikes in the blue right there.
Yep, I see that.
This is very interesting to me, right? And this is where I start to try to use my own knowledge at, right? So don't take none of this to the bank, but I'm guessing here, right? And this is from prior knowledge and understanding of how things work, right? I'm thinking there's another star nearby, right? That has to be the size of, since it's not in the image here, since they couldn't capture this star, this proverbial star or this hypothetical star that I'm talking about, I'm gonna guess, since this star was not captured in this image, there has to be a star nearby cannibalizing that that material there, pulling it that way. That's probably the size of maybe like the Betelgeuse or Canis Majoris, and these stars are like 100 times, 1,000 times bigger than our sun, right? But I say this because the question arise here when you look at this image, right? Lots of questions arises, but the first question that I ask is, why does that spike like that? What is causing that to spike like that?
But really, if you look at the entire image, it looks elongated.
Yes, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, and it just makes you ask that question, and then you know how bigger stars cannibalize the material from smaller stars that have either reached the red giant stage or the supernova event, right? So that's kind of how things behave. So I'm kind of guessing there, but and I could be wrong there, but this is just some of my guessing there, and I thought that was real interesting. This is one of my favorite images, right? But we can go to the next image though, Brendan. I just wanted to bring some clarity, and also, like I said, you can see the companion star in the background. The Hubble could not pick up the companion star in the background there. So,
all right, what's the second image that you wanted to see? Give me a hint. I'm just using Google just to pull those up.
Actually, it's the image on my it's the image that's on my avatar, actually, and that's called the Carina
Nebula.
The Carina Nebula.
Yes, the Carina Nebula, but they call it the cliffs of life, right? The cliffs of creation, okay. Right? And
I think Hubble had one called the Pillars of Creation.
Yes, they did.
Oh,
that's
yes, I remember that.
That's a very popular image there, Sheffrin.
I think I found a really good image of this one.
My absolute favorite.
All right. So
the Pillars of Life. That's your favorite one.
Is this one?
God, I want to put that on my wall.
That's everybody loves that. This image that Brendan has up now is actually my number one favorite image I've ever seen in my life. Like this is better than the image that when we show the expansion. Y'all know that my other favorite picture when you show the expansion and the fabric of the universe. Actually, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It actually shows like kind of a recreation of the Big Bang, I guess, illustration. So that's one of my favorite. But this here takes the cake, right? So Brendan, I don't know if you can zoom in, right? But what I want you to do before you zoom in, I want you to take your cursor, right? And I want you to go down to the left bottom corner right there, in that area right there. I want you to stay right in this area right here. This is a very, very important area, right? And I don't know if you can zoom in, but I'm gonna talk about some other things before we actually get into that area. But that's the main area I want to talk about. But before you zoom in, I just wanted to see if you could zoom. But before you zoom in, right, I want to make some things clear. I want to train our eyes, because you kind of got to get your eyes trained to understand what you look at. Because this image is so much going on in this image. It's going to take 20 years to actually analyze this thing properly, right? But you see in the middle, first of all, let's talk about the obvious things, right? So you see those bright stars with the spikes on them, right? Everybody sees those, right? Mm-hmm. Put those out of the picture. Those don't matter. What we're doing here we're looking past those. We're not looking at those stars. Those stars are stars that are closer to us, and we're looking past those stars, right? So that's why you see those bright, the spikes come off of them, right? We're looking actually past them, right? And I want to bring you to kind of like the center, like the peak mountain, right? Right? The tallest part of it, right? From the bottom to the top of that, right? Y'all have to understand, you're talking about 7 light years. Imagine that.
That's crazy.
Imagine that, y'all. I mean, the peak from the top to the bottom, the peak part is 7 light years. I don't even know, like, what to say behind that. I think you just dropped the mic after saying that, right? I don't think really we need to even elaborate on the significance of that, right? So anyway, so now that we kind of got
talking
our
about
eyes,
on the left hand side,
right? Maybe, I don't know.
Talking about
I can't. If he zoomed in too much.
No, he's
really
not. This is the actual size of the picture.
Okay, yeah, on the left hand, the peak, the peak part, yeah.
Okay.
The tallest part. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But so now let's go to the part that I want to zoom in on, because this is the interesting part here. This is what they're looking at, right? So what we're looking at, yes, that's great, Brendan. That's great. So what we're looking at, right, is early stars in this area here. You see, kind of it clears out a little bit. The dust kind of clears. It gets thin in that area, right? Mm-hmm. So what we're looking at is interstellar winds, right? From stars not only being born, but also the earliest, biggest stars of the that's ever been created in the universe's history, right? You know, the bigger the star, the faster the lifespan, right? So like Beetlejuice and all them people, Beetlejuice won't live long. He's gonna have a short, fantastical life, right? Other smaller stars have kind of boring lives, like our sun, kind of have a boring, kind of drawn out life, like a 8 billion year lifespan, right? These bigger, earlier stars, right, had short lifespans, like 2 billion years, 4 billion years. They're so big, right? They use up so much fuel and they have so much exciting lives. You know, if your life is exciting, you don't live long, right? So that's kind of how it is in the cosmos, right? The more exciting the star's life is, the shorter his lifespan is going to be, right? So it's kind of like a rock star, right? A pop star, right? It all a pop star.
As above, so below,
right? And it all ties in, right? And that's and also that's what makes us a part of the universe, right? That's what makes us all connected to the universe, like you say, as above, so as below, right? But so you seeing these solar winds and the clear, it starts to clear out that dust a little bit in there due to the stars being born and the stars exploding, those early giant stars exploding, right? Causing this solar wind, right? When you get that solar wind, you get the clumping, right? That you see kind of when, if Brendan moves his cursor, you see that bright star in the area where I'm talking about, right? Now you move your cursor further to the right there a little bit there, Brendan, and you see it clumpy. You see it the cloud gets more dense and clumpy right there in that area. A little further over, Brendan, a little further. Yeah, in that area right there. You see how that, though, you see how that big giant star in the middle is emitting light, right? That's close to us, right? So it's emitting light right there, but it's nowhere near what we're looking at. It's nowhere near that hole, the hole in the middle where you see the clarity where the dust kind of cleared out at, right? But what the solar wind causes is that dust cloud to clump up together. And this causes more starbursts. It's like a chain reaction there. So this is creation, what we're seeing here. This is why this is my favorite picture, because chances are we're looking so I think they said this was about a couple 100,000 light. I think it was 200,000 light years away. This particular nebula right here, right? And which is, I'd hate to say in our neighborhood, but cosmically speaking, this thing ain't way out nowhere, right? So it's the chances of a nebula being this big and grandiose in size and having this much starburst in it, it's a big chance that this is the cause of our solar system. The atoms, the dust, the particles, the photons, and everything in that cloud could be the very makings of not only our solar system, not only the planet Earth, but us as people. You see what I'm saying? These nebula clouds here are the building blocks to stars, to solar systems. The sun has to go supernova in order to get the material that it takes to build a human being, right? So this is why this is so significant to me. But Brendan, you can bring up some more images. I wanted to just hone in really, if y'all want to say something or ask any questions about this image. I mean, like I said, they're going to analyze this image for 20 years. You know what I'm saying? This is going to be one of the images that takes a while to actually analyze because there's so much going on in there. And this image is going to actually tell us so much about the universe that we live in now. You know what I mean?
Now, Corey, I do have a quick question. What type of material is this huge dust cloud? It's mostly hydrogen and helium, right? The majority of that is hydrogen and helium, right? But with stars being born and stars going supernova, within that you have heavier elements mixed in that too, right? So you have stardust mixed in that also, right? But the majority of it is hydrogen and helium. Yes. Right. That would make sense in the infrared spectrum. Fueling star formation. Right. So that would make sense. Right. Right. Absolutely. It's the gases, the early gases and dust that we talk about. When they talk about the primordial early gases and dust, they're talking about hydrogen and helium and the early stars that went supernova to kind of make that soup, that life soup, that galactic soup, I guess you would say. You know what I mean? Because, obviously there's no galaxies early on. They had to form later on, a few billion or maybe a couple 100 million years, after the Big Bang, I guess you would say. You know what I mean?
Well, we was already having galaxies a couple 100 million years after the Big Bang, and that's amazing in itself. Because with the James Webb, some of the most distant galaxies that it picked up is coming from a few 100 million years after the Big Bang. So
Yeah, when you look at the one image. So Brendan, you go to Neil's favorite image. Go to Neil's favorite image, because this was going to tie into what Sheffrin says.
Okay, what do they call it?
Oh God, it's the original picture, the first original. It's got the smudges of the galaxies, like it's the bigger picture, I guess.
Okay, it wasn't the picture we were looking at earlier, right? Was that something different?
We haven't looked at it today, no.
Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can pull it up. If anybody else pulls it up,
it was the very first image that came in. The clarity that we see today was the very first image.
Okay.
Oh, so okay. I know what you mean. The one with all the galaxies.
Yes.
That's Neil's favorite.
SMACS.
Yeah.
Okay.
SMACS 07.
And Neil, there in the image that Brendan's about to pull up is going to take them another 20 some odd years to analyze. Neil deGrasse Tyson even said it, like, yo, I mean, there's so much going on in here. It's going to take us years to analyze this, so.
Let's see here.
Actually, and in this image, you'll see one of Einstein's predictions come to fruition. Yes, this is the image right here. Yeah. Right. So what did you just say again, Sheffrin? I went on a tangent here. I forgot what you said.
No, SM, whatever it's called.
Right. No, I'm saying like what you added on to what I said a few seconds ago.
Hold on.
You said that's what you said. Yeah, go ahead and pull that back up though, Brandon. But you said there was galaxies early on in the first few 100 million years
after the Big Bang.
After the Big Bang, right?
Yeah,
and so so that image, if Brendan brings it back up,
hold on, hold on, I'll pull that up.
That image demonstrates that, right? It's so much going on in that image. Like I said, one of Einstein's predictions came to fruition in that image too. So, All right. So if you look, you probably have to make it slightly bigger. It's okay because I know what it looks like, but that's fine. So again, I want to point out the stars with the points on them, right? With all the points, those are stars just right here. What we're doing, we're looking past those, right? So train your eye off of those. That's not the significant thing, though it's the brightest thing on the page, right? But it's not what we're actually looking at, right? If Brendan scrolls up just a bit here, if you scroll the other direction, Brendan, the other direction. Yep, up a little bit more.
As far as this one goes.
Oh, that's as far as that one goes. Okay. Mm-hmm. So if you take your mouse down, if you look at that bright star that's red, that's kind of in the middle of the page, kind of towards the bottom. Yes, that one right there. Now you take your mouse and you kind of go diagonal down to the left a little bit. This is kind of what we're looking at. This area that's the area that I'm trying to see. Now, I want to tell y'all, some of these images are double. Some of these images you're seeing twice, right? And also you can see some of the galaxies that are smudged, right? That are elongated, right? And Einstein predicted this. Like when you're peering into space and you're looking at a certain area, you'll see the light, the photons start to bend with the space-time fabric, right? You'll see that light starts to bend from the influence of these galaxies and these supermassive stars. You got supermassive black holes. All of these things that have this intense gravitational field, right? But this image here, right? What Sheffrin was saying is, you're looking back 13 point some odd billion years in this image, and you see formations of galaxies already. I mean, I don't know if Brendan can zoom in, but you can see like perfect spiral galaxies in there. You know what I mean? And globular galaxies. And, you know, like I can point to the one right here on the left-hand side, clear to the other side, basically on the same longitudinal line as that star right there. If you scroll all the way there, all the way over, bam, right there, you see that spiral galaxy right there? That's perfect. And you know how far away that thing is? I mean, the clarity of that right there. And you talking 13 point some odd billion light years away. 13 point some odd billion years ago, you know? I mean, that right there is spectacular. And like Sheffrin said, this is the proof. I don't have to tell y'all. Y'all ain't got to believe a word I'm saying. You can look right at it. Galaxies had been formed within the first few million years after the Big Bang, right? And Einstein predicted this, but he also predicted the distortion, how you would see the bending of light and all of that, right? He predicted all of this in this picture. Einstein had no James Webb telescope, right? This is what real science does, right? It produces byproducts, and they built this based off of the equations of past physicists and theoretical physicists, right? I also want to add, there's no business aspect to this. Like, there's nothing they're gonna gain financially from this. The only thing you're gonna gain from this is more knowledge about the universe. That's what the significance of this is to me. It takes a lot to get people to spend this kind of money on nothing, on no return. You're getting no return out of this. The only thing you're going to do is get knowledge to further the scientific field. I mean, that's a return to me, right? But to everyday people, you know what I mean? I'll give you $200. I at least want a pair of sneakers. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, niggas want
think of it this way.
What they want to return. You know what I mean?
Well, think of it this way. One of the very first steps in the scientific method is observation, right? And this is a major tool for new observation, right? And as a subsequent, you know, what you would say a byproduct of this observation is going to be new hypotheses, right? New things for us to test and question, right? And out of that testing and questioning, right, we get, you know, those are, you know, the things, the actual tangibles that we would end up seeing, right? That comes from this, right? So with this just being a new tool, right, up in which we do observation, that's the value of it. That's the real value. This is we haven't observed the universe in this fashion to this date.
No, and the other thing is, like, right. So these images, right? This is what I want to say about these images, because somebody might ask, and it's a great question, and I wish somebody would ask, but I'm gonna answer it. I'm gonna ask the question for them. Is this image, right? You see these images, the beautiful, the Carina Nebula that we looked at, and all of these other images that we're looking at. Are these images the real images, or did they have to bring these back and kind of do the overlay thing that they used to have to do, right? So what I'm going to say is, these are actual images, right? This is actually, if your eyes could see infrared, this is what you would see. This is what you would see. If the only thing is you can't see this. So what the James Webb does is it translates this back to us in the RBG, the red, blue, and green, right? That we see, the spectrum that we see through. You know, your eyes have the red, blue, and green, right? And then they combine to make one color to give you the image that you see, right? In real life, or that the picture gives you in your brain, or however that works, right? I'm not a biologist, right? But this is, you know, you wouldn't see this with your eyes, because your eyes are not capable of seeing in infrared, right? But what the James Webb does is it translate that infrared picture immediately back to us right? In the RBG, in the red, blue, and the green spectrum, right? It translates it right back to us in that. So yes, there's no modifications to it, right? If your eyes, I'm gonna say this again, if your eyes could see infrared, that is what you would be looking at when you look out into the cosmos. So yeah, I wanted to just touch on that a little bit. And also, Sheffrin said it yesterday, and I think maybe Anthony said it too, that if this image right here, right, if we're looking, if we take a grain of sand and stretch it out at arm's length, the amount of sky that grain of sand takes up is the amount of sky that you're looking at on that page. That's how much detail that this telescope is giving us.
That's crazy.
That's how much detail it is, right? So look, take a grain of salt or grain of sand, raise it up at arm's length, and look how much sky that takes up. Look, imagine how much sky that takes up, right? How much sky that blocks out. That piece of grain of sand, how much of the sky is that grain of sand blocking your eye from seeing, right? Not very much. You're pretty much seeing all of the motherfucker, right? So that grain of sand ain't blocking out a whole lot, but that's what this image is looking at. That's the enhancement of that image. That's the enhancement that the James Webb is capable of, right? And then I also wanted to let y'all know, like this image here, and then the image that we looked at last, the Carina Nebula, right? These are on two total different sides of the fucking visible universe, yo. Are y'all hearing me here, bro? This image, I'm going to say this slowly. This image right here that you're looking at, and the image that we looked at before, which was the Carina Nebula, right? They are on two total different sides of the fucking visible universe, bro. Maybe that's not amazing to y'all or nothing, but that shit right there is mind-blowing to me. That's mind-blowing to me, bro. It's crazy. But I don't know. We can bring up another image. These are the three images that I've really had the time to really get into and really analyze. I like all the images. They actually brought up some new images today. If y'all, I don't know if y'all can go in. I'm sure Google has updated it or whatever, but y'all can see some of the new images. They're actually beautiful too, but none of them are comparable, in my opinion. I mean, Neil deGrasse Tyson might fight me on this, but none of the images are comparable to the Carina Nebula, right? The cliffs of creation, right? I mean, I'm speechless when it comes to that, right? But that's all I had as far as that. I mean, y'all can ask some questions. We can go in. I mean, somebody might want to say something and might trigger me to go into something else or whatever,
Y'all see if I can pull up some additional images, the ones that were just released while you guys do that. So I'll just peruse the internet, see if I can find some additional stuff. I did see the one of Jupiter, right?
Oh,
which was pretty interesting.
That was
were you guys
really
looking at that one? Were you guys looking at that one last night?
Yeah, I saw that one. I saw that one earlier today. Well, I wasn't really looking at it. I was listening to Lawrence Krauss have a discussion with a couple guys on this podcast about it earlier today. That was very interesting. I wanted to say though, this James Webb is so versatile, right? When they put it in the air, they didn't, and they still to this day don't know everything that they can get out of it, right? So it was not initially the objective to actually look for exoplanets. But now when they see how this thing works and the clarity and the capabilities, right? Now exoplanet searches and planets in the Goldilocks or habitable zone, right? That's a top priority now in using this James Webb. So, you know, as time goes on, the utilization of this observatory will become broader too. You know, it'll be used for different things than what they initially try to do. But Jupiter, man, that's beautiful right there. That is.
Now, what is that in the background? Is that the sun or what is that?
That is one of its moons there.
Oh,
right?
Okay.
Or I believe it's one of it. Could be the sun. It might be the sun.
It seems like there's a star in the back of it, but something in the front, which may be a moon, right? I'm not sure.
That's what I was thinking. Is you talking about that star? Yeah, that's the sun. Okay, right. That in front of it,
is
that's
one of the moons. So we're basically looking at a lunar eclipse.
Or basically,
right?
And so also, that's basically a lunar eclipse, right? It's crazy, right? Because that lunar eclipse is minuscule to, you know, when you put it in front of Jupiter because how big it is. But the storm on Jupiter right there, I guess to the right of that moon there, you see there the eye, I guess, or the storm of Jupiter. You can fit the planet Earth right there. I mean, that's pretty daunting also. Like the planet Earth can fit right in that storm. Bam, right there. So that tells you how big Jupiter is. Jupiter is our protector, right? Jupiter protects us. Jupiter is why Earth was able to develop life, why Earth was able to sustain life, right? Why we're here looking at these images right now. Without Jupiter, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't be able to do any of this without Jupiter, right? Because all of the loose things that come into our solar system is snatched up by the influence of Jupiter's gravity. Jupiter keeps those large objects from hitting our planet. So that's our guardian angel in the sky. That's our soldier. You know what I mean? He take care of the dirty work for us. So everybody needs to appreciate Jupiter. Jupiter is the soldier.
That's why he was a god to the Greeks.
Is that what it is? Why what was Jupiter's role in the Greek mythology? What was his role?
Actually, he was the sun, but I'm just fucking around.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. You know, I thought maybe he had some type of protector role or something in Greek mythology.
Yeah, it was the sun.
Oh, okay. So the Greeks didn't know shit either. It just like the Dogon did, right? So you know what I mean? Like we're not playing that game, right? Right. But that just proves like Stone Age traditions are just that, you know, Stone Age traditions. Right. But that's a great image there. Well, whatever. But that did remind me that about the exoplanets, how that's kind of a new task or a task that wasn't originally assigned to the James Webb is the search for the exoplanets or planets in the Goldilocks zone. You know, exoplanet is a planet outside of our solar system, right? But it's specifically they want to look for the exoplanets that are in the Goldilocks zone or the habitable zone, right? Being a certain distance from their sun, depending on the size. Like, so the smaller planets are the smaller suns. Like our sun is kind of like a smaller sun. You want to be at least 90, 100, a million miles away from there. You're within a habitable zone, right? But if you get into a star that's 100 times the size of Earth, the habitable zone
will be much greater.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yeah. So
and another thing about that is the habitable zone or planets. A lot of them that they're finding,
Earth is very particular, because of the moon and the wobble of the Earth. Like our whole planet gets sunlight, right? A lot of planets that they're finding that's in the Goldilocks zone, they don't have the right tilt to it, right?
Right.
And it's only one side is always facing the planet, so the other side be frozen, right?
Yep.
So those things create issues. So the more and more you look at these other planets, you recognize the complexity of the
Mm-hmm.
different things that had to take place in order for Earth to be so habitable, right?
Absolutely.
For our forms of life anyway.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
And that brings up my theory, and I don't think I've really discussed this theory, but as far as extraterrestrial or alien life, and this is just an opinion. I'm gonna go, and I'm saying I'm going out on a limb. I don't think you're gonna get to a point where you got like a cow, or a bird, or things of that complexity. What you're gonna get is an extremophile, I think. Now, maybe these extremophiles live so long that they can grow to the size of maybe a dinosaur or something like that. But I think all life, or not, let me not say all life. Let me say the majority of life, if we found life, right? Let's say we started to get the tools where we can just start to find life, right? I'm going to say the majority of it would be extremophiles. And an extremophile is a life form that it lives in extreme conditions. You got certain life forms that can thrive in methane gas. They can thrive in acidic places, very extreme heat, very extreme cold, very extreme pressures. You got these microorganisms that live so far down in the earth where the pressure of the earth is so extreme that they have to adapt to be in that environment, right? So you have these different types of extremophile. You have microbial life that lives inside of active volcanoes. You know what I mean? So they have adapted to live in that type of environment, even with the noxious gases like sulfur and other noxious gases that are emitted from within the Earth's core. Down inside the oceans, you have those geysers that bring up all of that raw material that would probably kill you on contact, right? But these extremophiles, they thrive in that, right? And that's the life. And I would gamble that would be the majority of life form out in the universe, right? Because of what Shepard said. Our planet, is so many things that had the position that it's in, the seasons, the Earth's tilt, right? You have Jupiter there, you know what I mean? Like Thea had to give us that glancing blow, it would set us on that, which helped us sit the way that we're sitting, right? You know that we were hit by another planet, right? A planet that's kind of the size of Mars had already hit us. That's how we got our moon, right? The moon is nothing but the leftover remnants of the Earth's crust from that.
It wasn't Mars. It wasn't Mars.
No, it was not Mars. It was Thea. They call it Thea, right? And Thea hit us, right? And Thea was vaporized, right? Thea no longer exists, but it came back and it coalesced, and Earth absorbed some of Thea's material. The moon did, and some of it got flung out into outer space and other planets. Some of it hit Mars. You know what I'm saying? So it's a lot of material that we share here in the closer solar system or whatever. But that's how the moon was created, by a glancing blow from another planet that they call Thea. Yeah.
I'm going to show another image. I don't know if you guys actually took a look at this one, but this image looks pretty interesting. Oh, just a sec. Let's see here. You guys see this.
Oh yes, that's a good image too. I don't know if you want to elaborate or you wanted me to elaborate on that, Brendan, or whatever.
If you can kind of, because we want to give the audience just a bit of context here. Right?
So what we're seeing here is they call it the quintet. Is that 5? Is quintet 5? I don't know.
Yep, it's Stefan's quintet. Yep.
Yeah, it's the quintet, right? This is 5 galaxies dancing around each other. Potentially in the future, these galaxies are going to merge. If we look at the 2 brighter ones, the brighter points right there, those are actually galaxies that are in the midst of merging together. So these are 2 galaxies are merging. But this is so significant. This is one of, I'm going to say this is probably my 3rd favorite image right here, because if you look at that bright image, right? Though these 2 galaxies are merging together, right? But the brightness that you see is the dust and the stuff that's getting caught up by the event horizon of the supermassive black holes that are in the center of both of those galaxies. So this is another prediction that we that's come to fruition. Like, we know there's supermassive black holes in the center of these galaxies, right? Because we can see how the burning of the leftover remnants of, you know, when a black hole starts to gobble up this material, it ionizes. These particles become ionized, right? And this is the radiation. This is the light this is what's giving off that bright light that you can see, right? Which is amazing, right? This is amazing, right?
Right. And I've seen simulations. I've seen mathematical simulations of this, but this is the first time I've actually seen a stellar image of galaxies actually interacting in this way. So it is a very interesting. Yep.
Yeah, it's real. It's real. This is it's great. It's great. And yeah, so this is a really good picture. This is they're gonna learn a lot. They're gonna learn a lot about galaxies and how they interact from analyzing this picture right here. They're gonna learn an awful lot from analyzing this picture, and that's the main thing. People say, well, you know, those images, like Hubble took the same kind of pictures. I mean, I'm not impressed, right? And I get you. I understand where you're coming from if you say that, right? Not that you're right, but I do understand what you're saying when you say that, right? The point of this is, and what Brendan said is, this gives us the next question. We've already asked the questions that we can ask. We kind of hitting the wall here, right? These images are going to give us the new questions to ask. And that's what's exciting about science, not the answers. The answers is fine. They have their moment. You know, you get the answer, you have a day of celebration, like when they found the Higgs boson, but like, who gives a fuck at this point now about the Higgs boson, right? The excitement was the search. No.
I'm still rooting for my particle physicists over here in the corner, right? We're gonna have our day in the sun again.
Right.
It's coming, Corey. September, we're back in business, baby. September, we're back in business.
But the excitement of that, though, the excitement of the Higgs boson was the search, right? It was the search. Now that we found it, how many people are so excited about the Higgs boson, right?
So you're right.
That's the thing. That's the thing.
This is what the next step. What's next?
Yes, this is what these images are going to give us. These are going to give us the next questions to ask, the next search, the next endeavor, the next frontier. These are what these pictures are going to give us, right? So that's the significance. If anybody want to know what the and two, like Hubble would have took you a month to get these back, right? To get these pictures back in the visible way that you seeing them now, right? It would take a month, right? It take a couple hours. Like they get the image, right? Well, James Webb captures the image, right? It sends it back. It transfers it into the RBG, right? And bam, that's what you got. I mean, it take like 12 hours to get an image like that. That's the significance of James Webb. Like when it would have took a month for Hubble to do this, James Webb does this in 12 hours. So, you know what I mean? And it gives you two tools. It gives you near infrared and it gives you medium infrared. I mean, a lot of people may say, "Why, bro? What does that mean? You know, what's the thing there?" Let me tell you, that's mind blowing when it comes to the field of astrophysics and the field of astronomy just all together. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that's a good image. Like I say,
Peace, brother Anthony. I saw you, brother Anthony just joined us. All right.
Oh, what's up, Anthony?
What's happening?
Peace. What's happening? Everybody doing okay?
No doubt, man.
Hey,
Appreciate that. Appreciate having you on here. That way, I can, you know, I don't have to have a weight on my shoulders. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, yeah.
You can carry some of the weight for me.
We had a pretty good show last night, man.
Definitely, man. Definitely. I was mad. Yeah, Shepard will tell you, man. I was upset, man, that I didn't get to join in on that one, man. That was a good conversation y'all had last night.
Oh yeah, it was pretty good show. But yeah, this what we've been waiting for, ain't it, Corey?
Definitely, man. This is what it's all about. Like I said, I can't wait for the questions to arrive, man. The questions, the hypotheses, you know, the inquiries, you know, the arguments. You know, you already know Lawrence Krauss finna get in an argument with somebody about this shit. You know what I mean? I can't wait. You know, I'm waiting on him get into an argument with somebody. You know what I'm saying? This is gonna be it. You know, this is what science is all about, man. It's about developing the questions. You know, people think science gives you the answers, right? Science develops the questions, right? That's what science does. It develops the real question, the question that's going to get you to the right answer, right? You have to have a right question first. I was listening to Bill Nye the Science Guy, one of my favorite guys since childhood, right? He was having this discussion with one of the news. I don't know if it was CBS or one of those news anchors or whatever. But she asked a question. She said, so you're saying these images are 13 point some odd billion years. So these things happened then. So today, these things are not there, right? That was and it was a great question. I appreciated the question, right? But what I appreciated more was the way he answered it, or his lack of an answer, should I say, right? Because that's a gray area, right? It is, you know, the thing is that image is happening, and to us, because we seeing the image happen in real time. When you're looking in the James Webb telescope, right? Those photons just happen to take that long to reach the James Webb, right? It took 13 point some odd billion years for those photons to reach that. So that event is actually happening, I guess. Let me just put it like this. The way that Bill Nye answered that question is basically he don't know. He was like, well, that's a funny question because what he said was, I don't really know if that is actual qualified question. I don't even know if that's a meaningful question. That's what he said. He don't even know if that was a meaningful question, right? That's the interesting part about science, right? Is we don't know. You know, people want these absolute answers, right? But let me tell you, and I say this a lot, especially in our iPhones. You can't dream, you can't imagine, you can't make up nothing more spectacular than reality. Your imagination is nowhere near as spectacular as reality is. You can dream of unicorns and whatever else. Jesus, I don't give a damn what you try to conjure up in your brain, right? Your brain cannot fathom the awesomeness, the craziness, the unimaginableness of the universe, right? You can't make up the spectacularness of the universe in your brain, right?
And you know what? Just to piggyback on that, I want to show you guys one of the most miraculous pictures that came out of the James Webb portfolio. I'm going to show you.
But it's your
guys
favorite.
this.
So you're showing your
exactly.
favorite.
I'm getting ready to show you guys, you know, one of the craziest, wildest images of the cosmos. I'm telling you, this James Webb. It's the Anunnaki. Family, this is what we did not find.
Right.
we did not find the Anunnaki.
Right. No, we did not. We did not.
It's a pretty picture, though.
We can name
look at the stuff behind it.
The hand of God, like I think Julanda brought up the pillars of life. Some people refer to that as like the hand of God, right, or whatever. But we can name things that, right, but really we know what they really are. You know what I'm saying?
Right. That is what we did not find.
I
see Bobby Banger out there in the audience. What up? He talking Black African power, right?
All right, I see him in the chat.
We ain't gonna get into the second half of the show yet. I'm just gonna let y'all know the second half of the show is gonna be very, very interesting. It's gonna be just as interesting as the first half, right?
Oh man. So what are some of your thoughts? I was listening to the replay last night, Brother Anthony, and you were sort of kind of describing your excitement, right? So what are some of your thoughts, man, of what's coming out, man?
First, what's your favorite one? I want to know. I want to know what your favorite one is, Anthony.
Well, like last night, I was telling them that picture you got, Corey, as your thumbnail.
Yeah, the Carina Nebula. Yeah,
that one there, man. Because the reason why is when you look at that whole picture, you see all them stars.
Mm-hmm.
You can see the stars with the infrared. You can even see the stars within the nebula that's being born,
that's being created. Yeah. That's why that's my number one favorite too. I wanted to. You reminded me of something, and I want Brendan to pull that back up. Pull that Carina Nebula back up, real quick. But go ahead. While he pull that, go ahead. You wanted Brendan asked you a question. He wanted to get some of your thoughts on something real quick. I'll interrupt you.
Yeah, that one there, that was my favorite. Yeah. You know, for that reason, because you know, it's the stars themselves that do it for me. You know.
Mm-hmm. I want to get all of these in PowerPoint images.
And you know, it's like I say, it's the stars, man. The process, you know, the that's what makes up the galaxies. You know, it's the stars that produce the elements. You know, but it all starts with the nebula. You know,
it starts with that nebula. But yeah, Brendan, if you could pull that Carina. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Let's see here.
Because I left out one thing as I'm looking at it on my avatar. I'm seeing I left out one thing that was very, very important too. Absolutely.
Okay. Just a sec.
Yep.
I got so much stuff. The last image threw me for a loop, man. It was so overwhelming.
Right.
The
Anunnaki, man.
They got me. Let's tell you.
You messed up a lot of people with that one, there, Brandon. You just didn't kill well.
They're gonna kill me on the clip up for the replay for that one, right? Let's see there.
Right.
They already gunning for me. You know they already gunning for me, Corey. So here we go.
Yeah.
No,
That's the.
Is this the one?
The death of the star.
This is the death. Okay, so which one? This one?
That one, the Carina.
Okay.
So can you
go.
pull it down just a bit, Brennan? Pull it down till you get to like the blue sky, the upper part of it.
Okay, right here.
Yes. Okay. So you see the blue stuff, right? That's coming off of that nebula, right?
Mm-hmm.
The blue stuff is ionized particles, ionized gas, right? Charged particles, right? That's being pulled. This stuff, this material is being pulled up into other stars. Other stars are pulling this material, this ionized particles, and it's pulling it in, and it's using it as fuel too, right? As mass, as a part of its mass, right? So
right on the very borders. I see that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You see the blueness kind of like it looks like almost rain, like right. But this would be rain going the opposite way, right? But so that blue is what you see in this ionized particles, charged particles, right? Which is crazy because I mean, think of the word I'm using here, Brendan. I'm using the word a particle, right? We're talking about particles here, right? We're looking at this shit here, Brendan.
Particles. Slow down for a second.
We're seeing it here. I mean, a particle. You know how small a particle is,
right?
In order to be called a particle in science, it's a part of an atom. A piece of an atom. That's what qualifies as a particle, right? That's what you're seeing. Yeah. This is what you're seeing here, Brendan.
Right. This type of ionized gas, what you're seeing, right? Yes. This is what existed at the very, very early stages after the Big Bang. You know, of course, with more energy and higher densities, but this is what that ionized energy was before. This is before particles could even form. You had this ionized material.
Absolutely. I mean, this is amazing that this thing could zoom in and get the clarity. I mean, do y'all understand the clarity of this thing here? It's amazing. It's amazing. And like I said, if your eyes could see infrared, this is what you would see. This is nothing made up. This is not an image that they painted or some type of exaggeration or something like that. Get that out of your brain. What you're seeing is what it is for real. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that because I didn't touch that, but that was a really important a part of that, right? And that's going to be something that they analyze too. That's going to be a part of the analyzation process.
Right. You can see it way up here, right? You can see that stream.
Yeah, that's
stream
crazy.
of material.
Mm-hmm. Right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, these are the stars that are big enough to influence that stream like that. They got to be like fizzle out, basically.
It's
like,
just gonna fade away. You know,
Yeah.
the atmosphere of the sun. I mean, the all the gases that the star was producing, and it's just they're gonna float away, and that's what's happening.
Let me explain it this way. So the sun is a very dense object, right? So it will become the size of the density, I guess I would say. So it'll stretch out, and it won't. The density won't be there anymore. You'll just have the size of it that it would be without the amount of density there, which is swollen. It'll swell up and look like it is now, I guess you would say.
Yeah. See, the star itself has stopped producing any energy. So the gravity, it wasn't massive enough for the gravity to collapse after the nuclear fusion stopped. So therefore, it's just floating away now.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. Pretty much, or you can say
ain't nothing holding. There's nothing holding it there. Yeah, so it's floating away. Basically, is exactly what you're saying. It's floating away.
Yeah, and that's the what you get when they talk about a planetary nebula. Like I say, it's the star, but it didn't go supernova. I think last night I was saying it was supernova. That was my mistake.
Yeah, I wanted to add a little clarity to that. Yeah, that's and you was right on. I mean, it was the death of a star. You know what I mean? But you know, it just hadn't been supernova.
It's not a supernova. It wasn't. The star wasn't massive enough. Now, when you speaking of a star like Betelgeuse, he's gonna go supernova because he got too much mass. You know,
he's gonna leave a black hole behind. He's not gonna leave a white dwarf. He's gonna leave a black hole.
Yeah, so that's another indicator of star size. You know, is how they die. You know, so that's you're absolutely right with that one. You spot on with that one, Corey.
Yeah, definitely, and and like I said, man, these images, man, like it's to get the analyzation. You know, they just now getting these images. I mean, they're gonna take these images and dissect them down to the pixel. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. You talking, 2 billion pixels or whatever. You know, something crazy like that, right? So they're gonna analyze these fucking images down to the very pixel, right? So I can't wait until we get these real questions, and start to get some arguments going. You know, this is where the scientific community want to be. They don't want to be where we at now, where we have most of the answers that we can even, it's not very many questions to ask anymore these days, right? And science ain't comfortable when there's not very many questions. Science is only comfortable when there's a scuffle, when there's an uproar, when there's debate, when there's a disagreement. That's when science is at its best. Science, people think, the experts and everybody agrees. No, nobody wants to be in that area. Nobody wants to be in the area where there's nothing else to learn and we have a full understanding of this and that and this and that. Scientists hate that. All of the real, you can ask Neil deGrasse Tyson. You can talk to Bill Nye the Science Guy. You can talk to people like Lawrence Krauss and old girl Michelle. I can't think of her last name, but she one of the smartest astrophysicists in the world, right?
Michelle Thaler.
Yes, absolutely, right. You ask her. They don't want to be in the comfortable space. They want to be in an argument. They want to have some disagreement. They want to not know. They want to have the questions. They want to debunk the hypothesis, right? This is the position, and this is what the James Webb will do for the scientific community. And that's why they're so excited, because there's so much work to be done. It's so many more questions to be had. There's so many arguments and formal debates and the rest of it like that they're going to have behind it. So, it's just a bunch of excitement that's coming to us, and our kids are going to be. See, this is what when I talk about having your kids involved, right? We want our kids to have an understanding because we want our kids to be in that argument. We want them to be a part of that debate. We want them to be the ones to debunk the crazy hypothesis, right? We want them to be the ones who come up with the crazy hypothesis that people have to therefore argue about and then debunk, right? We want them to be the ones to do all of that, to be the ones who fall and to be the ones who get back up and to be the ones who accept the Nobel Prizes. And this is where we want our kids at. We don't need our kids giving praise to Obatala, right? And Odudu and the rest of the motherfuckers, right? We don't need our kids doing that. We don't need our kids even reading Dr. Bean books, right? We don't need our kids praying to one of the 300 Mediterranean niggas out there. Jesus, Mohammed, Yahshua, Adam, all of these Mediterranean niggas that most people on the planet all is on your knees bumping your head up against the ground, right? You're on your knees bumping your head up against a ground to pray to an imaginary friend of some nigga that lived thousands of years ago in the goddamn Mediterranean, in the Middle East, some fucking where. We got to cut that shit out, and we got to know what's important to us, right? We got to know what's on the forefront. We have to be the ones on the frontier, on the frontier of knowledge, right? Not just of astrophysics and the rest of it. The frontier of all knowledges, all sciences, including the medical sciences, right? The earth sciences. You know, you have your archaeologies, you have your geologies, you have your marine studies like marine biology. It's so much that we haven't learned about the ocean. It ain't even funny. They say if the earth was the size of an Olympic-sized swimming pool, right? The amount of that fucking water that we've explored is like taking a glass of it and dipping it in there and pulling it out. We only explored a glass full of it, right? So we need to be the top marine biologist. You know, when they introduced Neil deGrasse Tyson, you know how they introduced that man? They say he is the #1 top astrophysicist in the world. That's how they introduced that man. The #1 top astrophysicist in the world. We want our kids to follow in his footsteps. We want our kids to emulate, to look up to him, to try to be like him. Wear those weird ass vests and ties and shirts that he wear and shit. Not trying to be like Boosie Badass or whoever the rest of these crazy ass niggas is, smoking a joint on TV like ain't nobody never smoked a fucking joint before. You know what I mean? You niggas walking around. I got the loud gas and I'm smoking and I'm drinking. But niggas been smoking and drinking since fucking time immemorial. Nigga, do something new, nigga. Do something fucking new.
Is cool.
Right. That's what we trying to get to. We trying to get to where Neil is the cool motherfucker. Not this nigga that's high on dope. Can't even goddamn take care of his goddamn kids or read a goddamn sentence in a coherent way, right? Which one of these niggas, Cardi B and all these stupid ass bitches that are daughters and shit, emulate. They want to have a goddamn Michael Kors purse, spend their last couple $100 on a funky ass Louis Vuitton pair of slip-ons or some shit. Crazy, dumb bullshit that ain't gonna get us. No, it's gonna keep us right in the same place. it's the white man side, the white man laws, the white man in the government, the white man is running NASA, the white man is. We gotta. We're gonna find ourselves 50, 100 years from now still saying the white man. If we keep allowing the cool thing to be Cardi B and what kind of fucking shoes she got on, right?
Yeah.
Or how much money you spent on that funky ass bottle of bullshit rot gut cognac that you bought at the goddamn club. You paid $200. The shit is so stupid, y'all. You pay $250 for the same fucking bottle that you go down to the goddamn liquor store and pay $30 for. The shit is mind-boggling to me, right? Oh, I'm popping bottles in the club.
Okay.
Look, nigga, I can go down to my basement and go to my fucking bar. I can go out to my garage, right, and go in the refrigerator in my garage and pop a bottle on my fucking patio that I built, right? Like that shit, we need to get our minds in other places besides the white man popping bottles and smoking that bullshit weed that you niggas are smoking, right? The weed got dust mites in the shit. It's been up somebody's ass crack because they had to sneak the shit some fucking where, right? Whatever the fuck they done to get the boot. They pouring fentanyl on the shit nowadays. I heard that some kids in my town, right? I don't know if this is the cool thing or somebody did this maliciously or what happened, but they pouring fentanyl on a goddamn weed.
It's killing some of these kids. It's killing some of these kids.
Fentanyl kills.
Yeah, but again,
on the fucking weed, y'all. This is what our kids is doing here. This is our kids, y'all. Now, y'all can say, well, it ain't my kid. Listen, this is our goddamn kids. These are our kids that are going to be taken care of. They're going to be in charge of the world when our asses is old and dried up, right? And we can't even, goddamn it, know our way to the fucking mailbox, right? Once we to the age where we don't know how to get back home from the goddamn mailbox, our kids is the ones out here pouring fentanyl, the ones that's going to be in charge of the goddamn world, right? They pouring fentanyl on a goddamn weed, and that's cool.
That's crazy. What?
I can't believe this shit here, right? I can't believe it, right? But like I said, I done went off on a tangent somewhere. I don't know how y'all let me do that. I don't know how.
I was trying to stop you, brother.
Blame Brent.
I was trying to stop you. But again, you're talking the truth. You're telling true. But again, we talk about observation, right? And one of the biggest tools, and you did mention a really, really good important point in what you just said, right? It's like we want our children to be great, right? We want them to be great in these realms of science. And one of the biggest challenges when you're talking about, jumping into these fields is, right, you can spend years doing research, reading books, all this stuff, just to start asking interesting questions, right, in the realm of science, right? It takes, without these types of tools, right, that gives you guys direct observation or gives the scientists direct observation, right, for new things, right, it's very hard to ask questions. Like, give you an example. Like, for instance, this is going to put like some of these emerging scientists back in the position where people like Copernicus and Isaac Newton were, where they could actually ask questions that hadn't been answered using direct observation. Right. Most of the questions that Copernicus and Newton, right, were answering, those have been tackled already. Right. This is giving us a new tool for observation to ask those new questions to give your kids an opportunity to be great.
Definitely. Like I said, you And the parents have to be enthusiasts. They have to be science enthusiasts, right? In order for the kids is going to do, my grandfather was always outside. He never, ever, ever wanted to be in the house. Like, he would go to work, be outside all day. When he get off of work, he going out to the garage. He's not coming in the house. He going, as long as it's like summertime, it's nice outside, my grandmother gonna take his dinner plate outside, right? To the garage. He gonna eat his plate outside. You know what I'm saying? Like, he always wanted to be outside. And I'm the same exact way. I don't ever want to go in the house, man. I'm not an in the house guy at all. Like, I'm always outside in the backyard. You can either find me in the backyard on the patio or in the garage, one of the two. You know what I'm saying? When I get off work, that's the first thing I do. I get my chair, I make me a little cold, a little something, you know what I'm saying, to sip on, roll me one up, and I sit in my chair in the garage, right? First thing I do every day, right? And it's because of that's what my grandfather did, right? So we learn, and our kids pick up those same habits, whether they like it or not. It's a lot of things that I say, I swear to God, I sound exactly like my dad. And it's like, oh my God, did I just really say, did I say that? I can't believe I said that. I said I would never say that. I would never be the one to say that, right? But here I am saying a lot of the things that my dad said, but because of those things and those ways that they instill in us, and we pick that up. So I said that to say, like what Brendan was saying, if we want our kids to be on the forefront, if we want our kids to be the next Neil deGrasse Tyson, right, we have to be scientifically literate. We have to be interested in these new endeavors like the James Webb and things like that. Like, we have to have an understanding about how to read a scientific paper or a journal or an article, right? We have to be savvy on all of that. Because it allows us to pass those habits on down to our kids. If Sosa was here, he could tell y'all, he could go into mirror neurons, right? Because he liked the cognitive sciences, right? Sosa will go all the way in about the mirror neurons and how that affects your babies and your kids and how you pass on those certain habits through the mirror neurons. You know what I'm saying? But yeah. Go ahead, Brendan. You want to say something? I think your mic is your mic. It don't say mute, but it ain't working.
No, I would just say this is all good commentary in terms of what we're sort of, building off of, right? I'm listening to you, and I guess, we always push scientific literacy here, right? It's always, sort of top of mind for us, right? And I think Unc said this best in one of our back chats. He said that we have these conversations to prime us and our audience for these moments, right? For these moments when we have these scientific breakthroughs. So now we have the backstory. We know a little bit about what a nebula is. We know a little bit about what a light year is. We know what a parsec is. We know about the expansion of the universe. What are some of the phases of the early evolution of the universe? These are all topics that we've already sort of tackled, so to speak, on the Pseudo Killers, right? So when we have these breakthroughs, like for instance, we talk, Cedric just mentioned, we're getting ready to fire up CERN again, right? Who knows what we'll see? They're adding additional power to it, right? When we find these new things, these new breakthroughs, we're having this type of conversations that gives us a little bit of back history, some backstory, and then we can add color to those conversations, right? Because we're already primed and ready for those things. And that's what we got to do for our kids. That's what you're saying. You have to have your kids primed and ready for these conversations, primed and ready, right, to enter these fields of study. Right. So that when they get to high school, right? And they're emerging and they're taking the first AP sort of level mathematics courses. It's like, okay, well, yeah, I've already done this before, right? Either my dad actually helped me walk through, a quadratic equation before, or hey, my father actually taught me about, how stellar evolution works. So this isn't new to me, right? I'm actually up there at the head of the class, right? So that's sort of what we're doing now. We're doing that amongst ourselves, right? But we have to actually move this forward and do this for our kids as well. So I think I'm right. You're spot on, bro.
Right. Yeah, yep. and also, like, we got to be able to answer those tough, because I love kids. Kids ask the best questions, man. Right? They ask the real questions. The kids ask the real questions, right? They want to know the fucking real answer, right? And most adults, they bullshit kids. Most of us as adults, we give kids the runaround as if they can't handle what the real truth is, right? But really, it's us that either don't know the truth, can't articulate the truth in the right way, right? Or we just haven't been learned in the right way. And there's hidden agendas behind the answers that we give our kids, right? Which cheats our kids, is dishonest, is terrible to me. It's borderline child abuse to me, right? But the thing is, we have to be able to answer those major questions better than my grandmother. And I say my grandmother because I don't want to throw nobody else's grandmother under the bus. Now, I love my grandmother, and my grandmother I wouldn't say she lied to me. I'd say she tried to answer questions in the best way that she could when I asked her questions, right? But the thing is, she wasn't educated enough to answer those questions. Like, where does rain? Why does it rain? What is the lightning? You know what I'm saying? How did we get here? These certain questions, you have to be geared enough, right, Brendan? When your child asks you that question, you have to be literate enough to give them an actual answer, right? The real answer, right? But not just the real answer. You have to be able to articulate it in a way that child can digest it and understand. And then that child regurgitates it back to you in that child's own words, right? I always make all my kids, I got kids from 22 down to 1, right? So my 7-year-old is the one that I deal with the most right now, right? I always make her articulate back to me what I've told her. So if she asks me a question, I explain it to her. I need to know whether she understood what I said, because I don't want her to leave me without actually understanding what I told her, right? So I asked her to articulate it back to me. Tell me what I just said to you in your own words, right? That way, your child actually understands that, right? Understands what you said. So then she can go, she's prepared to go to school with that. She has a grounding. She has some sort of, it's not the end all be all, right? But she has some type of footing to be able to participate in the conversation on a level where other students may or may not be able to have that level. You know what I'm saying?
No, that's spot on, because if you take a basic communication class, they tell you to do the same thing, right? If you get a question, articulate the question back to the person that asked it, because that does two things, right? It creates a level of empathy, and it also lets the person who asked the question know I understand your question at a fundamental level. So yeah, those are some of the very fundamental sort of when I say fundamental, things that are fundamental aren't easy, right? No. Those are how to build those communication skills. That's spot on, bro.
Yeah, and that's the bait. We have to have that grounding, right, in order to get to the next level. The next level is to understand how to read scientific papers. How to think in a scientific way. How to ask scientific questions, because most questions, a lot of questions is like, bro, that ain't even a qualified question, or it's not even a coherent question within the realm what, you know, within the confines of science or this particular discipline that we're actually discussing here.
Right,
that may
right.
or may not be a valid question, right? So
even more challenging, how to ask a unique question.
Absolutely.
How do you ask a question that nobody else has asked before? Right. That is the one of the biggest keys when you're doing graduate level work. Right. How to even ask a unique question is
What
huge.
requires you to know everything about everything that we already know.
Right.
It requires you to kind of hypothesize in a science in a scientific way, not in an everyday way, right?
Yeah, it's based on understanding all the material and saying, wait a minute, but if X equals Z, what we have over here that Z can also be formed by Y, then maybe I can do something with X and Y. You know what I mean? But you have to be fully grounded in the material. And that's why I keep saying, two people can go on Google, do a search, but just my ability to ask the right questions is going to put me in a different level of information. We have the same question, we have the same idea, but just the way or the fact that I have the nuance to ask a very specific question in a very specific way is what allows you to get to answers that get to the correct answers. That's a fundamental a part of the whole equation. However, to get to that, there requires a fundamental grounding in whatever subject it is that you're entertaining. For example, when I heard mRNA and we're going to use the body to produce the spike protein, my head went. Now, I know most people watch me like, huh? The first moment I heard it, I was like, okay, this is a paradigm shift. We're going to see breakthroughs coming in terms of how we treat patients now. I saw the whole development just from going, wow. But again, it's because I'm knowledgeable in that specific field. And I kept saying, only if you're a rocket scientist would you be impressed by rocket science. So like we see a rocket go up, the layman watches that, maybe we're in a little bit of awe, but we have no idea the amount of technology, the amount of science, the amount of work, the amount of mathematics that goes in to having that, what we seem to be a simple feat, accomplished. It requires that extra level of work. A little bit of awe, but we have.
Wow, Cedric, you finished?
Bobby Banger in the building. What's going on?
What's going on, man? Pseudo Killers Official, man. Real Black Atheism, man. What's good with y'all, man?
Peace, God Killer.
Oh man, we've been going over these James Webb images, man. Corey and Anthony, they've been putting on a clinic for us, man.
Yeah,
it's been very interesting.
Yeah, and I know it was, man. I know. You know, this like what the second or third day we kind of triangulated on that, and yesterday we didn't have we had one of our dudes, you know what I'm saying, that really do this shit. Anthony was over it, but we didn't have Cosmic Corey. He was stuck in the Nubian hole. Dr. Ben bookshelf.
Right.
Yeah, like we had to get out of there. Like, come on, where you at, man? Did Vance come on?
No, Vance didn't make it. On, but you know.
Yeah, see, we gotta get a little.
Anthony came back on to kind of help me out a little bit.
So, you know, what I like to recapture is a lot of times is those conversations that we have in the back chat, and just to hear the vigor and the way y'all explain this shit when we in that back chat. Just to hear you talk, well, okay, well, it wasn't quite that. It was a binary. This is what it is. And you know what I'm saying? Just, you know, those moments, man, is precious for me. Sometimes that's why I be saying, man, y'all got to stop talking in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you'll say something that's so profound. We need to get that on tape, man. So I hope y'all recreated that, man. Like these conversations, you know, are actually needed for the people, bro. Like, and I think that I'm proud of where the show is at. And, you know, I'm proud of the brothers and sisters that's on the platform. I'm proud of that. And I appreciate you, Anthony. I appreciate you, Cosmic Corey. I appreciate you, Vance. Appreciate you, Brendan, Julanda, Anusha. I appreciate everybody, Chef and L, right? I appreciate y'all because these shows are actually needed, man. You know, I be on platforms where people are slap crazy, man. Like there's no building blocks, right? Like people can actually go back and look at our shows, and we talked about gravitational lensing, right? You know, we talk about water being all over the cosmos, right? We talk about how do they know what they know? You know, how do they look, shine the light on a galaxy and know what's in there? What is composed of, right? We actually gave people the formula. So when these pictures came up, right, and y'all actually explained it, man, our audience was actually, you know, ready, right? You know, like you can't trick our audience. And I think a lot of people made mistakes and they forgot just how good a job that early on that the Raw Squad had did. We put the community in a position to be able to check our goddamn selves, right? And I think people kind of forgot that. We raised the intellectual understanding of things around us in the community. And we did it so much so that as we progressed in what we was doing, it was certain things we just would have to leave alone because now the people is checking the checker and checking the checker, right? So when we had certain conversations about, you know, the universe and the Egyptians knew this and the Bantu knew that, right? It put people in a crazy spot, man. And that's what we was created to do, to put your ass in a crazy spot, no matter who you are, when you start talking crazy about something that's so important that the rest of the world, right, participates in. So I shout out to the two little kids.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Shout out to all of the, like you said earlier, man, like we've had discussions that led us up to this. Like we've been kind of prepping our audience to be scientifically literate, to actually check us when we wrong. Like we got people in the audience that'll come on the panel and be like, yo, you was dead wrong about that, yo. You know what I'm saying? Google Scholar, he'll get on the panel in a minute and be like, yo, man, that shit you said earlier, you was all wrong with that. And the thing about what makes this channel so unique, we welcome that. That's what we welcome. You know, that's how Google Scholar became a part of our thing, by coming on and correcting us and checking. Like, yo, you said that fucked up. You know, you was halfway right, but this is what it really is. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what we need. I mean, those are the discussions we have to have. That's the level, you know what I'm saying? That's what sets us apart from the rest. Is no echo chamber over here. We willing to be corrected. We always know we don't speak in absolutes over here. That's another thing that I like. We don't speak in absolutes. Everybody can be wrong, you know, and we always learn something. No matter if I'm right or if I'm wrong, by the time this stream is over with, I've learned, I'm taking something from this stream that I did not have before I came on this stream. Almost every single show that happens. Almost every single show.
Facts. Real talk.
Yeah, absolutely. I remember, I think me, Reggie, Google Scholar, we were on, this was one of the late night ones, and we were going in, we were actually talking about some concepts related to some of the theories that Einstein had postulated. And I was describing something, and Google Scholar jumped on. He was like, no, Brendan. He said, you're attributing something that was, you said it was related to Einstein's theory of general relativity, but no, that belongs in a basket with special relativity, right? And then I knew, I said, yeah, this brother is on top of his game. He does his studies, right? And also, right, some of the subsequent conversations that we have when we talk about things on our show, the brothers come back like Stu Peas. He comes back and he's sharp on top of previous subjects that we've talked about, which lets us know that, okay, our audience, they're going back, doing their studies on the back end to be sharper and more present during some of these conversations. So I think, again, right, that's valuable. That really adds to the conversation.
Man, the fact that we up on the internet having a conversation about James Webb says everything as to where we're at, and I appreciate it. We're not gossiping. We're not talking about anybody else. We're discussing science and the frontiers of knowledge. Like this is a nerd's heaven.
Yeah, that's a fact, man.
And our sister Juju, she's become an astronomy buff. She was just on travel. She was at the planetarium, right? So that's.
Last week she was praying to an African god. This week she looking at the stars.
Right.
Peace to you, Bobby. What's happening?
What's going on, man? How you doing, bro?
Oh, I'm pretty good, man. Pretty good. Still, and I'm floating in that nebula we were talking about. Still floating in it, man. I'm still floating.
Yeah, I already know, man. Y'all right in your wheelhouse now, yo. You like running around here like about to lose your mind.
It's like Christmas, man, for a guy like me. You know, that's 10 billion well spent. You know, in my opinion. I've never had 10 billion to spend, but hey, that's not a bad way to spend it for me. So yeah, I mean, it's everything y'all been saying is right on, man. I mean, this is gonna open up a whole new world of opportunities for a lot of young people coming up. You know, it's gonna be a lot of questions, probably 10 times more questions that James Webb is gonna present than, you know, answers. So that's the exciting part. You know, the questions that don't have answers. You know, we like to focus on the answers that we can't question, and we want to live our life that way. Well, if that works for you, fine, but I want to know what's going on. I'm nosy when it comes to the universe. Shit, I want to know. So this is the opportunity for me and everybody else to know and learn what you don't know. You know, it's gonna benefit us all because we're all here on this earth within this solar system, and everything, no matter how you look at it, man, this is amazing because it's new information. So that's gonna always keep me excited. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man, we in a time machine, man. It's a time machine. What more? I mean, come on. What, you know, we talk about time machines, man. We got a time machine, man. Like, that's dope. You go back to the place and see where elements were forged, right? Did you find your body, man? Couldn't dream that up. Couldn't have dreamed it up. What's going on, Chef and El, man? How you doing, brother?
What's going on, Unc? Chilling. Starting part 2.
Okay, all right. Boom. Part 2, what you titled?
We had 2 hours Thursday night. Part 2. I just already know. Just all.
Yeah, Egypt was a black land. No, I'm joking.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
I ain't doing that. I'm done.
So let's go to Nakata. I was waiting on this.
Yeah.
Goddamn, all that space, all that daggone James Webb conversation, man. What about God daggone Nubia 60,000 years ago? Nah, man. Come on, man. You know, I tell you what, though. I tell you what runs through my mind, though. And no cap. Like the youngsters say, no cap, man. When you look at not to play, though, and I look how far humanity has come, right? For those, you know, astronomy, right? That's in not to playa, right? And that right there, that's like some foundational work. And we know to even get you that structure, it's about 2,000 years of growth for Homo sapiens sapien to even build that type of structure right there. And to see, that's like a time machine because, you try and observe, you got the light coming, right? Boom, you make your alignments. But hell, by the time you make your alignments, man, the shit done already moved. You feel me? And to go from not the playa to the James Webb, man, like, man,
you don't get the James Webb without not the playa.
Yeah, you don't get to that.
I think you do.
You don't get that. And it's crazy, right? And I'm sure they had some type of thing they might have been praying to or what it was, man, but we don't even know that. Right? There's no byproduct in that. The byproduct of not the playa is pushes humanity forward to where we at now. And that's just amazing. The cosmos, understanding where humans are. That's a tough, hardcore reality, man, to know where you at. Man, hit that link right there, man. We got a couple people that was over there with me on Sarnetta's, man. Hit the link, man. Where you at? Let me see.
What you were talking about and saw.
We right there, brother, man.
But for sure,
Saint, the other white guy.
Sure.
Where you at? Hit the link, man.
For sure, you had
man. This is a good conversation.
Hey, brother, for sure, you had people praying, but I'm more interested in the ones that were looking up.
Yeah,
exactly. You guys pray, then we'll look up to the stars. You don't get it without the guys looking up to the stars and doing the work.
Hey, that's 100 right there, bro.
You can pray, do all the praying you can. That gives me inspiration, but we need the guys looking up and doing the work as well.
Yeah, that's what I keep saying.
That too, but I do want to be the devil's advocate here, though, Brendan, right? And just to say, and this is probably going to be out of character for me, but I just got to do it. We are the byproducts, though. Us, right? Those humans that are on the planet today are the byproducts of those who were believers, right? So we just want to keep that in perspective. I just want to throw that out there. You ain't got to say that and whatever. I just want to throw it out there. That's all.
No, that's no problem.
I always keep saying, nothing changed though. If we look at the planet today, 99% of people